And now even more frustration because the battery died. And I had to put a new battery, so it cut the clip in half. So now I'm going to have to edit. Now I got to cut this off at the 5-minute mark. Now I don't even know what to do. This has been a frustrating version of this stuff. Oh man, I had it, because the other one took so long. The juice ran out. Gotcha. Great. It's terrific. Anywho, I lost my train of thought again. I was talking about my friends retiring. They're gonna buy their little sailboat or motorboat somewhere in Florida, and that's it. It's good for them. They'll invite me down. I'm always good for a laugh. No problem, but no, I'm in this long game. There is no retirement. There is no Florida. There is no nothing. It's pretty much to the bitter end. And then wishing and hoping that I have the two things, that I have the stamina to keep going, and then also the stamina to just take care of myself to a little bit of a degree, as in being able to at least eat some food and bathe. But that's going to be, and that's just a candle burning at both ends. There's no one to take care of you. There's nothing. It's all the way to the end. And to know that you embarked on this journey and you're looking back, you're like, oh my goodness, all the time I wasted. And it's not just wasted, but I just, there was some good moments. Sure, they made some interesting pieces, and it got me this far. It got me over here, right? You see that? You should see the rest of this place. This is only a fraction of the view. And while all these guys that do their YouTube channels, they got their desks and they got their toys in their background, and they get thousands of followers. I don't have toys behind me. I got this behind me. This is where my labor went to. The labor went to this backdrop that I'm only kind of utilizing now. It's like, yes, so this is what I see. This is why I worked hard to be able to see this, to be around this, to have that kind of space, to have this kind of space to indulge myself even further. I did get rewarded for all this insanity. So, I just haven't been able to, because, all these guys talk about they got all their things, and it's just like, this is why I find this a little bit more difficult, because a lot of it's just toxic. And, I get into it, it's unfortunate. I go down the rabbit hole, have a couple of drinks, I'm like, yeah, I don't like those people. I agree, and then it's just like, great. That's all it is. It's all hate watching at this point. It's hate watch. It's just hate. It's hate TV, and there's so much of it, and that's where the fandom is. That's basically the biggest names on YouTube now. Is just a guy who's my age, some middle-aged dude that's got a problem, usually Caucasian, and that's who is like, and then they get that legion of fans. So yeah, I could talk about politics here. This is one of the hot button centers of the entire planet right here. You know what happened here? This was horrible, and they had to rebuild it. So this is a topic on its own. But I don't go there. That's not why I'm here. This is not why I'm even bragging about it. I talk about the freedom to do art, and that's what's important to me. But I'm not here to trash another political group, or I trash artists, but that's different because that's within. And I'm not even talking about their politics themselves, like Democrat or Republican stuff, whether they're woke or things like that. I'm not using even those terms. I'm just using in the quality of their art and how the business kind of is and the creepiness of things, and nothing really specific, not targeted at a certain group, more like maybe at a person. But it's not because of who they're politically aligned with or religiously aligned with. And also I know movies better than all these guys put together. I know my Star Wars, Star Trek. I know my history of film back to front. But I don't want to sit there talking about Disney. It's just like I don't care. People say Star Wars stinks. Okay. I'm also a grown man. I don't care that Star Wars stinks. It makes no difference to me. I had my Star Wars memories. Damn, I'm still coughing. Sorry. Spent the whole night coughing. I induced the cough by watching Dave Chappelle. But I'm already in the adult programming stage. It's like, I can't believe they did that to Snow White, or I can't believe they did that to this, that, and the other thing. Like, I don't care, dude. Really? So, but they make millions. I don't know how much they make just because they just trash everybody. And I guess it's easy. I guess it's the easy way. Fame is easy. People think it's hard to be famous. It's not. I tell everyone, it's very easy to be famous. All you have to give up is your integrity. That's it. Give up your integrity right now. You'll be famous tomorrow. And so these guys don't really have a lot of integrity because their whole subject and their whole being is taking down someone else, taking down a whole institution, taking down a movie, and people just like gravitate to people that just want to wreck stuff. So yeah, and I'm not Mr. Positive at all. I disagree with a tremendous amount of what's going on in this world, but I'm sticking to it's more about my fight against this world on a personal level and on a professional level because I'm an artist and whether you like my art or not, it's not really up to you. It's whether or not I like it and I vibe with it, and then trying to find people that do vibe with it, even if it's crazy or stupid or ugly or insane. And fighting the business of the gallery business, of the museum business, and all this stuff, and still making it go like grants and all these things like that. So this is a fight for me. Whether you were inspired by my fight or not, that's up to you. But this is what I'm talking about in terms of, I look at these guys, they don't do anything else except complain about others. I don't even know if any of them have a project on the side. I think they've tried to, one guy tried to be build up a fan base and then started doing like his own sketch comedy stuff. But once they start breaking away into like those other things, it's just like their creative stuff is not that good. They're better at being bitches than actually getting behind a camera and doing something on their own. So it's just this kind of like, they focus their efforts on something before. And it's just like, and then even the Lego, it's like, if I knew Lego was going to be such a thing, geez, I was the original Lego maniac. I came up with that phrase. I came up with Lego maniac because some kid was just like, I started like smashing some bricks. Like, what are you, maniac? I'm like, no, I'm a Lego maniac. And freaking Lego stole that idea. Everybody steals from me. I'm like the cornerstone of civilization, believe it or not. I know that sounds crazy, but no, I pretty much invented pretty much most of the 21st century back in the 20th century. At least 40%. 40% of what this world is like is basically stuff that I came up with. I just didn't know how to copyright because I was a kid. I know that sounds all crazy, but I'm telling you, dude, I could tell you stories where, like, directly, like, someone must have been in earshot. It's like, hey, that kid said something. Oh, that's a good idea. And then somebody, it's like some like gray-haired scientist ran to a payphone and called like the plastic company, like, yeah, this kid came up with this idea. He came up with lollipops. I know it sounds crazy. Where am I going with all this? Anyway, that's just something that I just don't want to do. I can do that here. I have the backdrop. I could talk about politics the livelong day. But I'm just not compelled. I don't have that compulsion. I just kind of want to go on my own. And this going on my own has been persistent throughout my whole life. And everyone has a problem with it. Everybody. And it's like, and it gets hard. It really gets hard because it's like, well, what's so special? It's not even about being special. It's just, I have my own fight. And that's it. I'm not a tourist in this life. I'm not a tourist. These guys are tourists. Joe Rogan's a tourist. They sit in their cushy studio, and they live in the middle of nowhere, and they don't have any problems. They don't have to descend into the subway station like I do. Multiple times a day. They don't have to go through this, wintry, dark city and risking your life just to take the train or just go somewhere. How many times I've avoided fates worse than death just by making eye contact with a schizophrenic and being like, okay, maybe I should just walk on the other side of the street really quick. My senses are heightened to a degree. Like I'm like Spider-Man over here. And and these guys, everybody's just like this armchair quarterback, and they got their toy room, they got their half attractive wife, ugly kids, and they got their YouTube subscribers. And it's like, all right, fine. It's like, but they're not engaged in anything. They don't have a fight. That's not a real fight. They're not in life. I'm in life. This is life. This is life right now, boiling up every single day. Even coming down here, I don't live here. I have to make the journey here. These guys don't make the journey. What do you think they're going? It's like, well, I got to go drive to the garage where my toys are. No. So it's a different world. So that's why I don't even want to listen to half these guys. It's fun to get a good laugh here and there, but other than that, I would never take whatever they say that seriously in the end, because, like I said, they're tourists, and tourists are just soft. If you want your life to be soft, keep watching these soft penises, But if you want to, you can call me an erection. All right, that's just a weird thing to say. Okay, that's fine. Somebody over there? All right.